how many sprays of perfume do you really need? The answer to this question is not entirely straightforward because there are a few factors that will come into play. So, the first thing you need to know is that different perfumes have different concentrations, and for that reason, you may not need to spray as much perfume as you might think, or you may need to spray much more than you might expect. So, for example, this is Emerald, which is an eau de cologne or just cologne. Cologne in general is relatively weak because it has relatively small concentrations of perfume in it, usually between 2 and 5% of perfume oil. A lot of the rest is alcohol. So a weaker perfume like that, or a cologne, you will need to put more on. So you generally want to put on perfume in the main pulse point, so 1, 2. So for both sides of the neck, really. Those are 2 main pulse points because your neck is generally warm and perfume likes warmth because that's what helps the perfume oils to release themselves. The other 2 areas, the wrist and then the other wrist. So 4 total, but another good way, or another thing to consider, is to put on your clothes. I'm not going to do that, but you can, and your hair. So I would argue for cologne, you can actually put on more. So I'm not going to do that because I don't want to waste this, but you could put, say, double up and put 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, some in your hair, some on your clothes. You could do this with cologne because, like I said, cologne is very weak. So if you only put on 1 spray, it's going to vanish. It's going to go on with the wind because it just won't have enough perfume oil to really stick. But if you, put on multiple sprays, so that'll last you longer. And the smell will be more prominent. But what if you have an eau de toilette? Eau de toilette is different than eau de cologne. It has around 8 to 10% perfume oil, so it is stronger, but still not extremely strong. So, because of that, you can use less eau de toilette than you would with cologne, but it's still not as strong as eau de parfum. So, it really depends on the eau de toilette that you have. Say you have a really musky, strong eau de toilette sort of fragrance. In that case, you probably wouldn't need to put on that much, even though it is still a weaker concentration, mainly because those musk notes in general, and woodsy notes, smoky notes, they tend to last longer naturally compared to fresh citrus notes, floral notes. Those tend to fade more quickly. So if you have a light floral perfume or something similar, put more on if it's an eau de toilette. If you have more of a musky, heavy eau de toilette, you could probably go more sparing. But in general, a good range is between 4 and 8 sprays. Maybe even 4 to 7, if you don't want to go overboard. But the final concentration to consider is eau de parfum. Well, maybe not the final concentration, there are some others, but eau de parfum is a very common concentration. It's around 15 to 18% perfume oil, considerably stronger than eau de cologne, considerably stronger than eau de toilette. So, for that reason, you don't really want to use too many sprays, otherwise the perfume will be quite overpowering. People won't even want to be around you. You'll just smell too strongly. So, for example, this is quite an old eau de parfum. You can see there. Used to. So, this is actually a perfect example of where not to go overboard. This is a very musky, very strong fragrance. And because of that, you want to be extremely, sparing with how much you use. for me, I don't dare to use more than 4 sprays of this balm because it's so strong. It's similar also with the main thing that makes it so strong, besides the fact that it's an eau de parfum, is those musky notes. So if you have an eau de parfum that is musky or woodsy or smoky, you won't need to use that much because it's already so concentrated and strong. You just need to do, a brisk spray down. If you have a light floral fragrance, that's an eau de parfum, you could probably get away with 6 sprays, maybe 7. More than that, even a floral perfume can get a little too strong. So keep that in mind. And then the final concentration is called an extrait or extract. And you don't see these too often. You usually see them with luxury perfume brands. I'm trying to think of one, like Shalimar. They have an extrait which is extremely strong, extremely concentrated. And an extrait usually has around 20% perfume oil, which is very strong. It's also very expensive because perfume oil is, what you're paying for, basically. So because it's so concentrated, you really want to be careful with how much you apply. Mainly, it takes some experimentation with an extrait because it's so concentrated. You don't know, depending on the notes, how strong it is until you put it on your own skin, because your skin will also react with the perfume and kind of mess with the strength to a certain extent. So I would argue stick with 3 to 4 sprays with an extrait. Stay on the low side, especially if it's a strong musky perfume like Shalimar or something similar. If it's a lighter formulation, floral extrait, you might be able to go for 4 to 5, but even then, because it's so concentrated, you shouldn't probably go more than 5 sprays. So keeping all that in mind, you can kind of mix and match with what kind of perfumes you have. If you have the cologne, eau de toilette, eau de parfum, extrait, or something else. So, and depending on the personal nature of the perfume, is it light and floral? Is it like fresh linen? Is it more resinous and smoky? So, and of course, what you're willing to get away with. If you want to really blast some perfume and get yourself noticed, then of course you can put on more. But if you want to be more subtle, then go on the low side. Maybe, just do a few sprays. And pretty much if you keep all that in mind, it's easy to figure out how many sprays you should use, depending on what kind of perfume you have. So if you have any other opinions on how many sprays of perfume you should use, you can leave a comment down below. If you liked the video, leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.